And she wants to join me. Say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So I'm gonna demo a couple different modifications on how to do downward dog. I did a live class a little bit ago, and one person had said that it was really difficult for them to do downward dog. And I kind of didn't think about how downward dog can impact certain people, whether it's their lower back. Maybe they are under the thought that they have to have straight legs, straight arms, straight back. And that can be very difficult if people are, having issues with their hips or having issues in their spine and their lower back area or impingement in the shoulders. So I thought that I would go ahead and give a demo of a couple different versions of downward dog, depending on the area of maybe pain or area of discomfort will base upon what type of downward dog you will take. So I'm going to start with shoulder pain and impingement. Let's start with discussing downward dog requires your arms to be up here. And with impingement, very difficult for your shoulders to raise that high above your ears. Really, it looks like this, right? And so instead of taking downward dog, it is completely recommended that anyone that has shoulder pain or impingement pain is to take tabletop. This is where you should go. Okay, tabletop is it's no different than a downward dog. So if someone says take downward dog and then move into warrior two, you can come here, move your foot forward, and still make it up to warrior two, right? Bring it back down, but you're never putting your arms here for downward dog. So your arms are never leaving this area. So tabletop for those that have issues with their shoulders and impingement and so forth. Then you have I think my downward dog has to have straight legs and straight back, straight arms, but really take this and bend your knees. You want to keep your spine straight and you want to keep your head leveled with your arms. But it's okay for you to bend your knees. The thought here is really just keeping the angle here all the way down straight. So that means you're here. And even if they say raise your left leg, you're still bent. Right? Bring it in. And warrior two. Right? Okay. So then there is also the ability to bring the ground closer. Right. Let's start with blocks. You have 2 blocks. Bringing the ground closer can actually change the downward dog as well because you're not coming all the way down. So you might feel a little more comfortable being straight leg and straight back with using blocks. Okay. So now you have blocks. Same thing. Come into left leg raised, and warrior two. You will still take that same approach using blocks. For those that I say tabletop or using your knees, right? Sometimes being on your knees can be also very strenuous. So take it here and put a blanket underneath you. Okay. Now, there's also maybe your ankles or your Achilles, right? Maybe you have some strain, and so putting your feet flat down like this doesn't feel good. And so I recommend that you actually take tabletop, but then lower yourself to downward dog here. So you're still taking a downward dog, but you're doing it without applying pressure to your heels and to your ankles. So there is another version of downward dog. Another one is some people are straining their wrist, right? And so another thought is to apply no strain to your wrist, placing them on blocks like this, right? and pushing up in the downward dog here. So you're using your forearms for your downward dog instead of using your wrist. So that is those that may have pain in their wrist, they're not applying any additional pressure to that, right? And so obviously it's a little bit more difficult though to get yourself into. So I still recommend you come back up, down, and around for going into your next pose, right? But you're not standing on your hands for a very long period of time. So another type of downward dog is by using your wall, right? I have the wall in front of me. I'm going to put my feet back and I'm going to use my arms, right? So you're using your arms. This is downward dog, right? You're still getting that same strenuous, that pull in your shoulders. You still have the straight back, straight spine right here. Same thing. Using your wall, very useful. Stepping back for warrior two. So coming out of each of these downward dogs, you can still get into the same practices and the same poses straight out of them. The other option is by taking a chair. You can do the chair two ways. I like it where I'm going to use the lower spot of it. Put you here, right? And then put your feet out. And it's kind of like having the wall, but not having the wall, right? So you're still raised and you're able to put your legs straight or bend, whatever feels best to you, right? But you're just still keeping the back and shoulders aligned. And there's downward dog. And again, step, step. And one, two. You have all these different types of ways of getting into a downward dog without feeling like you're having to apply pressure to zones that just don't feel right and ache. So I really hope that helped you guys. And if I didn't show something for a type of ailment that you have, we touched on ankles and Achilles, wrist issues, shoulder impingement, shoulder aching, knees being able to be bent, and then making sure that we did a wall and also a chair one as well. So I hope that was modifications that will help you guys do your practice. Use that during when you're watching other YouTube or other classes that you're going through. Apply those. So when they say downward dog, doesn't mean that you have to do exactly how they're doing it on the video. You take the modification that you want to take during the practice because it's your practice. It is not your teacher's practice. It is your practice, and you make sure that you yourself are comfortable throughout your practice. All right, guys. If there's any questions, you guys can put them in the chat now. Thank you. Thanks, Gabriella. I appreciate that. Thanks for joining. I'm super excited. I will make sure that I post this on my YouTube so that way others will have the ability to go back out and see it. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. I know it is the weekend right after the holiday happened, but I just wanted to make sure that I threw something out there for people who obviously, like I said, I did a live and someone was like, this did not feel good. Doing downward dog did not feel good for them. And I wanted to be able to give other options. So, like I said, use anything that you have available to you. Doesn't have to be blocks that you have to buy, chairs, walls, all those types of things work. Bending the knees, not using your wrist. Those are all things that you could do without having to actually purchase something to have to use like blocks. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys have a beautiful day.